Here we go, boys.
What's up, y'all? Welcome
How we
to
doing?
What's
We
up,
good?
guys? Yeah.
I think we're good.
Nice.
Welcome to another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. It is September 16th. It's a Monday. It is 1 p.m. And Baltimore sports just had a pretty terrible weekend. Orioles and Ravens really both struggling, having bad weeks. Orioles are now 3 games back in the AL East of the Yankees with 12 games to play in the regular season. The Ravens are now 0-2, and we have our next 3 games against Dallas, Buffalo, and Cincinnati, who are 3 very good NFL football teams. Pretty rough situation for both squads that we're a fan of. We're going to get into that today on the pod. We're also going to go in depth on NFL Week 2 stuff, upsets all over the place. The dogs were barking this weekend. If you're a betting man, you already know that, or woman, betting woman. And also a ton of injuries, biggest surprises. We're going to go over that kind of stuff. But we'll start with the Orioles, unless you guys have anything you want to get off your chest, off the top, at the top of the podcast.
Yeah, anything fun happened this weekend for you guys before we go into it? I worked all week. I mean, I worked from home. Caitlin worked all weekend, so I didn't have much
Kirsten
going
threw me
on.
a surprise birthday party on the day
How was
after my
that?
birthday. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was nice. It was awesome. She did a great job with it. I stepped outside to talk to my 2 bosses, like right outside of my front door, and I live next door to the place she was throwing the surprise birthday party. And she calls me and she goes, "Get back in the damn house." And I'm like, "What am I doing wrong? Like, hands up. Like, I'm just talking work."
Yeah.
Little did I know people outside with like balloons and stuff like that that wanted to get in, but they couldn't show it. While I was standing.
Balloons are a dead giveaway surprise party.
So shout out to Miss Kirsten Larson for throwing a great surprise birthday party. Then my father took a picture with an inappropriate balloon, said something about your mom, and he sent it to my mom. That was great. Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks.
Shout out Tony Pops.
Keeping the magic alive.
It was bike week in Ocean City, so it was just traffic and all kinds of stuff going on in Ocean City. But we had a big weekend, so it was good.
Cool.
Styx and Cheap Trick and Ted Nugent played down here this weekend,
Really?
which is pretty crazy.
That's good stuff.
But-
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent in this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm out here reading "Don't Kill Myself" books.
Books. Whatever.
All right. So, unfortunately, we have to talk about the Baltimore Orioles today. Rough stretch for us. Last 10 games, 3-7. Pretty decent pitching performances for the most part the last week and a half. We really haven't had that many blow-ups. We just cannot score any runs. In our last 10 games, we've scored 4 or more runs just twice. And we've scored 0 or 1 run in 4 of the last 10. We almost got no hit on Friday night. I was at the Bruce Springsteen concert in Baltimore. I drove up for that, which was awesome. But yeah, I was glad I didn't get to watch that game because they had a perfect game going through like 7 1/3, I think. Did you guys watch that one? Brian, you got something to say?
Yeah, I forgot this, and I'm sorry we already got kind of rolling on the Orioles stuff. Another thing that was major on Friday that happened is our friend Michael Latham got engaged. Kirsten and I were on the boat with them. It was beautiful. It was money. The weather was perfect. We just had a blast. Like everyone that was on the boat, like all 8 of us. And congratulations to them. It was sick. I'm kicking myself for even forgetting that before we got rolling.
Congratulations to Cabbage. He actually sent me a text yesterday because we're playing each other in the Gary Williams Fantasy Football League. And he said, "God damn you," because I'm kind of kicking his ass. And I was like, "Dude, you had a good enough weekend. Let me have this one."
Yeah, man. He, I believe his exact words in the group chat were, "I'm glad I was able to finally give her something big and hard."
Oh man!
So congratulations to them. Her name is Haley, and she is a rock star human being. And so once again, I apologize, boys, for getting us rolling, but for getting that part.
You're good, man. Congratulations to Cabbage and Haley, and we'll be there to support you along the way, and we'll all be at the wedding. I'm sure it'll be a good time for all of us to get back together. Yeah, back to the Orioles. Just a rough stretch for the offense. It seems like Henderson and Mullins are the only guys who are getting on base consistently. We're going to talk about the same stuff. We can't move runners over. I think at one point in the game 2 days ago, we had 5 hits through 2 innings with no runs. I don't know how that happens. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Is there something you guys are saying that I'm not, or are we just going to be keeping on talking about the same stuff we've been talking about for weeks?
No, it's like we're a broken record right now. I mean, it's the same issues. It's the same issues we've been talking about all year, just with our runners in scoring position. I think I brought up that stat last week and I fucked that up about how we were like 8th or something like that. I thought with runners in scoring position, we're 8th in home runs hit with runners in scoring position, which fine, we should be. We're 2nd in the league or first. I think we're 2nd in the league for home runs, so we should be pretty high on that. But yeah, our batting average is obviously towards the bottom of the pack, the lower third, which is not where you want to be. And then I'll shout out the bullpen and the pitching in general has been great in terms of, for the most part, over the last week. I mean, Burns gave us a shutout. I mean, I think we gave up at the most one run over the past like 5 or 6 games, minus the last game I think last night. So they were killing it, and we're still losing games because we're getting no hit and perfect gamed through 9 innings.
I'm sick of the sabermetric stuff, and I'm not going to beat that horse. I'm not going to go redundancy. We're not as good as our record is. It's hard to say that because, like, I think the old adage is with 162 games, you know who you are. I don't think they know who they are right now, and it's just you can't waste good pitching like this. You can't. No. We've been bitching about the bullpen. We've been bitching about starting pitching, and then you don't get runs. Yeah. It's very frustrating because we are a decent team, but I think we're now. It seems like it's ripping at the seams. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we know what we're doing.
And then, like you said, the pitching is finally stepping up. Like they're putting their nuts on the table and saying, "All right, I'll fucking carry this team." And then, I mean, Christ, all we had to do in a couple of those games was score 2 or more runs, and we get a win, and we couldn't do that. And it's not even that. Like, it's more like, what can we just get our defense consistent? Like, that's the most frustrating thing. Like, I understand, like, there's ups and downs with hitting, and that's just frustrating in general, just because hitting is frustrating in general and it's hard. But, like, the controllable is the defense, and that's not consistent. That's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah. It felt like the dagger was last Wednesday night against Boston. When we went to extras and the Yankees went to extras. I had both games on the TVs at work. And at that point, I believe we're 2 games back of the Yankees. The Yankees end up hitting a walk-off in the 11th, and then Tyler O'Neill hits a ball off Keegan Aiken that I still don't think has landed. One of the furthest home runs I've seen at Fenway Park in a really long time on television. It just felt like that was such a dagger that they came back and they were able to win in extras, and we took that devastating loss in extras in Boston. And it really sucked. I mean, it sucks as an Orioles fan. It sucks. It just feels like the whole weekend, it's just more of the same. We can get hits early in the game, but we can't get runners over. And then it sort of feels like the second time through the lineup when you really should start seeing more pitch. You start seeing the pitcher a little bit better. We're really just not taking advantage of that. And it's really frustrating.
Right? We're regressing at the wrong time.
Yeah. I would agree. Well, in terms of hitting, that's for sure. And I guess fielding too. Pitching's starting to step up a little bit, and that gives you a little bit of hope. Yeah. Because Grayson's coming back. Webb was just activated, I believe. Obviously, we got Silent J back in the lineup, so maybe he can give us a boost. We'll see. I know Mountcastle has regressed a little bit with his wrist. So Coulomb, I mean, we'll see how he's doing. He should be on his way back here soon. So there's stuff to look forward to. Adley started hitting the ball a little bit between Boston. Finally had a dinger last night or 2 nights ago. Couple small things, but nothing to like get overly excited about. It's just, I mean, the biggest thing I'm excited about is how well the pitching's been this past week, and with Grayson on the way. So you'll have Suarez, who's been nothing but consistent for us. It feels like Kramer, Burns, Grayson, and maybe Povich.
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know who I feel like I'm missing somebody there.
I just don't want to go week to week with this. Like the defense has been a problem for the duration of the season.
Yeah,
it's so
we
up and
can't
down.
hide it.
Yeah,
and
I mean that's the reason why Soto's playing right now. I mean, because he's consistent in the field so far.
Yeah, I really think since Jordan Westbrook broke his hand, it just feels like we've been less consistent. It feels like almost he was kind of the glue guy in the lineup. He was able to get those runners over when we needed to. He was able to get those clutch hits when we needed them. He was very good, very solid at third base, made all the plays that they needed to. And it just feels like since he got hurt, it's been out of sorts offensively, defensively. I really hope we can get him back. And obviously we had that 2-week stretch of Ramon just going crazy before he got hurt too. It's just, I don't know.
That's something to bring up too. Ramon is ahead of schedule, which is promising, but we'll see how he's going to be when he comes back. He hasn't swung a bat or been walking around. So
yeah, and if you come back cold and he comes back hitting like he did at the beginning of the season, then he's not going to be any use to us anyway. So we're expecting him to come back. Yeah, that's true, but
maybe
he's been shaky in the field this year too, former Gold Glover.
I agree.
It's just not a lot of positive stuff to talk about, and I hate being negative about our teams, especially when we're almost 20 games over 500 with all the injuries we've dealt with. But I mean, another thing I have written down is Jackson Holliday's last 30 games. He's hitting 175, no home runs, only 8 RBIs in 97 at bats. It's just not. It's not clicking for him yet either. He's doing that slow start thing that all the Orioles rookies like to do. It's just it's been shitty to watch the last couple of weeks.
I'm tired of growing pains. All right, growing pains were last season. I firmly also believe this. Sports are cyclical. I'm a superstitious guy. Last year we were extremely healthy. This year this is life coming right back at you.
Yeah.
Now we're not healthy.
Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, it's everybody else playing inconsistent really has been saving us.
Yeah. I mean, Yankees are 7-3 in their last 10. We're 3-7 in our last 10. We're down 3 games in the division. I mean, that's a 4-game swing there. That's the difference. And look, we got 12 games left. Who's to say we don't go win 9 out of the 12 games and get right back in it and, sweep the Yankees in New York? Obviously, that's a lot to ask. But it's certainly possible. It's baseball. So
also Garrett Cole looks like trash right now.
Garrett Cole looked like a moron the other day, waving that 4 at Rafael Devers and then getting blown up. I love that. I hate that guy.
I don't like that guy at all. He wanted to beat up Billy Crystal because he took too long to throw out the ceremonial first pitch on opening day.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Brian is very defensive of Billy Crystal.
Now, I'm very defensive of pitchers acting like babies because he was 2 minutes off his routine on opening day while they're throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. Shut your yapper. Go in the clubhouse and take a dump or something.
Yeah, it's just like you said. It's hard to like. We're 19 games above 500 right now, I believe, and it's hard to imagine us complaining right now. But it's like you said, we're September 16th. The season ends October 1st, basically, give or take. And this is where we should be, like, and it doesn't feel like it feels like we're sputtering.
Look, we got 2 weeks to get the bats hot because if the pitching can stay like this and the bats get hot, then we'll be trouble in the playoffs. But these bats really got to get hot, and it starts with Adley.
Came to me.
It starts with Adley, and it starts with Tony Taters, and it starts with O'Hearn and all the guys that aren't performing. And Kowser's been
horrendous.
He has a chance to win Rookie of the Year, and he's been abysmal. I mean, it's he's like the hottest or coldest hitter on the planet, and there's no in between. It's crazy.
Mark Reynolds.
And it's like you can't take him out of the lineup because he's one of the best defensive players on the team right now for a team that's been sputtering defensively.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do? So, yeah, he's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place right now for Brandon Hyde. I feel like the guy, no matter what he puts out there, it's just like, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, if Emmanuel Rivera is one of your best hitters over the last 2 weeks, you got a problem in your lineup.
Him and Soto feel like they're the best hitters right now.
Emmanuel Rivera sounds like he just crossed the border. I didn't know who the hell he was. I remember we were at the bachelor party. I'm like, who the hell's this guy?
He's Renato Nunez with a beard.
Jersey Jerry.
Jersey Jerry. All right, so 12 games left. This is the last homestand this week. We're off tonight, Monday. But last homestand of the week is this year, or of the year is this week. Sorry. 3 home games against San Francisco, 3 games at home against Detroit, and then we go on the road to finish the season next week at New York and at Minnesota. I mean, I've got to think we got to win at least 4 of the 6 games this week. Put ourselves in any chance to win the division. If not, it looks like we're probably going to be going for the wild card, which doesn't necessarily. Let's find out. It's not necessarily a bad thing because I think if you remember last year, we went into the playoffs and we had that bye week, and a lot of people think that kind of cooled us off, and the fact that Texas and a couple other teams kept playing, it kind of kept them hot. Because baseball is a lot different than football. Baseball, you kind of need to do it every day. In football, you're just recovering from car accidents every week, basically. But in baseball, they don't want their bodies to rest and recover. They want to keep going. Feels like so. The Yankees are at the Mariners and at the Oakland Athletics. Mariners are decent. The Athletics are garbage. And then they are home for us, and then they finish at home for the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
So A's, Pirates, Mariners, Orioles. I mean, I would say their schedule is a little bit easier than ours, but we play each other, so a lot of things can happen in that series.
Mm-hmm. Remember we said at the beginning of the year that we thought it was going to come down to this last series too?
Yeah, we did. And honestly, if we're within 2 games and we go into that series, that's going to be that's a playoff series right there.
That's really the number I've been saying is that we really need to stay within 2 going into that series because we put ourselves in a position where we have a chance to win the division. At least give ourselves a really good opportunity going into that last series against Minnesota, who's going to be fighting for a playoff spot.
And you said something about like to keep playing to stay hot. It's almost like I wish it was switched for the years. I wish last year we would have kept playing because it was like nothing we did last year we couldn't do any wrong.
Yeah.
This year I feel like we needed to get a couple guys healthy.
We need a reset.
So I wish it was flipped a little bit, but beggars can't be choosers.
In all honesty, I'm glad you brought up Westberg, Dusty, because I really thought that Adley would be the glue guy. He was called Captain America at Oregon State. They made like the bobblehead was him, like wearing a Superman jersey or something. It really seems like Westberg is that guy.
Yeah.
He's starting to get more vocal too, they said.
Good. And if he comes back, hopefully, because I think we were talking about it last week, that like the cast is off his arm, he's feeling the ground balls with now both hands.
Yeah,
I mean, he's throwing.
I mean, for God's sakes, the guy was actually taking ground balls with one arm.
Yeah.
Now he's got 2, thankfully. Yeah. And I mean, if we can get him back, that might actually make a swing.
Yeah.
That's just
you plug that guy in the middle of the lineup. That's invaluable, especially against, like we've been saying, we've been struggling against left-handed pitching. We've been starting Rivera, and Mountcastle's been out, and getting that guy back who rakes left-handed pitching, that would be huge.
Yeah. Did you see that? I think I sent it to you guys with Adley's average since he got hit in the hand on that foul tip back in July, I believe.
I did not see that. No.
I think somebody put out the stats on it. That's basically when everything kind of turned on Adley in terms of his slump, is when he got hit directly in that hand and he was like going like this and his hand was like shaking. So I don't know if it has anything to do with it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I mean, that's kind of where they pulled whoever the guy was pulled the stats from. So I thought that was interesting because we all thought that might be an issue, and then I think we kind of forgot about it for a little while until I saw that. Another thing I wanted to bring up with you guys in the playoffs. Do you think McCann catches every single game?
No, I do not.
I kind of want him to. He's doing a much better job handling the staff right now when he catches, which I think we saw most of the year in general.
Yeah.
And we talked about this with Burnsy. It felt like he was getting 90% of the starts behind home plates when Burns was pitching. But I mean, I have seen Adley back there a couple times. I just feel like there's some kind of correlation. Whenever I see McCann back there, it feels like there's a better comfort level at the moment, at least. So, and just let Adley focus on like, hey, let's get the hitting rolling, which maybe he is. He a couple big hits here and there against the Red Sox on that homer yesterday. So we'll see. Just something I wanted to pose the question to you guys.
Something else with Adley while we're just talking about him in general. His stats versus left-handed pitching versus right-handed pitching over his career have been very weird. In his first season in 2022, he hit 280 against righties and 173 against lefties. Last year, he hit 304 against lefties and regressed to 267 against righties. And then this year, he's destroying left-handed pitching as a right-handed hitter, hitting 333. And then left-handed, he's hitting 222 and 375 at-bats. So this is a guy who is touted to have more power from the left side of the plate and more of a doubles batting average kind of swing from the right side of the plate. It's kind of working out that way, but it wasn't that way in his first season. And I think it's been really weird to watch.
Yeah,
Roger, you're muted.
You're on mute, Ryan. But yeah, he was. But before Brian goes, yeah, like I don't put a huge ton of stock in the switch hitting numbers like that, but just because the amount of the discrepancy in at bats between the two are so ridiculous. So it's almost like a stat that I feel like is almost unfair, but I don't know, just because you're going to get so many more at bats from the left side as a switch hitter than you are from the right side. So like if you get hot from the right side one year, like you were talking about, like 1 year he's good, 1 year he's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's just almost a stat that needs a little bit of a weighted a little bit.
Yeah. And I
agree.
What do you think,
Brian?
I mean, look, he's got 200 less at bats left-handed. It's just, or versus left-handed pitching. It's just, I don't know. I mean, you're facing mostly right-handed pitching. You feel like you should be more consistent on that side of the plate.
I mean, I'm going to bring nothing to the table. This comment that it's very hard to decipher. That's a tough one to decipher. I don't know how to wrap my mind around those numbers.
Yeah.
Joe Radke says, "What's up, fellas? McCann got that hog in him. Crushed his World Series hopes in 2018 at Oregon State. Yeah.
Hell yeah, Joe! Shout out, Joe.
He was magical in that run for Oregon State. God, that was fun to watch, that World Series.
Me and Joe and I interact quite a bit between the Ryan Ripken show. He's always on in the chat, and he's also on the Ryan Ripken Fantasy Football League. So good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, Joe.
Yeah,
thank you, Joe.
Okay, so we're going to go from depression to depression. We're going to get off baseball here, and we're going to talk about the Ravens, who are great. The Ravens are now 0-2. We go to Dallas this week, and then we play home for Buffalo, and then we go to Cincy. Feels like a gauntlet, and it feels like we kind of need to win all three. Blowing this game, I have on the notes, was inexcusable. It seems like we blow games all the time, and we have stats to back that up in the last 5 seasons. After this week, now we have 11 losses with a 7+ point lead in the fourth quarter. I don't understand the challenge that cost us 40 seconds late in the game from Harbaugh. I don't understand why they can't run the ball. We know that they can't run the ball, and we still can't stop Bowers and Adams. And we're getting diced up by Gardner Minshew. I think it is really an indictment on our secondary. I mean, I know Wiggins was out. I mean, I think Humphrey is just burnt toast at this point. It's rough. It's inexcusable. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, but you guys get into what you saw and specifically what we did wrong that caused us to lose this game. Brian's got something first.
This goes right. My frustration, I think I'm wearing on my sleeve at the moment. The offensive line is hot garbage.
Yeah.
And that is it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So that's all. The O-line is just trash. We said it last week on the podcast. Chris Jones physically picked up an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, moved him over so he could run right at Fillet.
Yeah.
And you're going to see Crosby. Mark Andrews, thank God he got paid already. Because if he hadn't gotten paid, he wouldn't get paid ever again because he's going to have to stay in and chip block the entire time now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to bring up, I know we just talked about 10 or 11 now that we've blown. I want to share something that somebody put together here. If I can get it to work, but damn it.
To your point, Bri, we were kind of rotating Macari and Rosengarten at right tackle. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. Obviously, Rosengarten played a little bit better. Macari's struggling. But, I mean, the right guard position with Falele, we need to figure that out. It's just it's absolutely abysmal. I mean, you literally I said this in a text earlier to somebody. I think I'd rather have a vending machine playing right guard. It'd be harder to get around him. I just don't. He's a giant mammoth human being, but he's a project that's not. It's not there yet. And I think it's really tough when you sign Derrick Henry, and you think Derrick Henry and Lamar are good enough to make the offensive line problems go away. It's not going to happen against these good pass rushers. Max Crosby was in the backfield every snap, and we talked about this last week. Chris Jones was in the backfield every snap. You have to have a plan against these stud players, and we just don't. If our offensive line doesn't improve, we're not going to win games. We're just not. And Lamar's playing good.
Yeah. Micah Parsons has to be licking his chop at the moment when we play them next week.
Yeah.
Look at these scores, guys. I know these aren't all in the fourth quarter, but I mean, these are scores where we're up 10 or more points during the game. And a lot of them are way more than that.
That Miami one was so bad.
And we end up losing the game. It's just frustrating. I mean, the one that stands out to me was, I think it was the Giants game. This Giants one was frustrating just because that was top of mind recently. But, you should not be – I mean, these are all third and second half besides this Buffalo one.
And if you look at the graphic, you're seeing maybe one or two good really good quarterbacks in this graphic. I mean, last year to the Browns, their quarterback situation was terrible. Pittsburgh, same thing. Gardner Minshew's beaten us twice from behind. I don't understand what's going on against Gardner Minshew. I don't know. It's been rough. It's been rough. The clock mismanagement. The challenge was so stupid. He so clearly caught the ball. And look, at the end of the game, you get the ball with 27 seconds left, as opposed to maybe a minute 10, minute 15. And that's so much more time. All you have to do is get in field goal range. You could run the ball a couple times. I mean, it's so frustrating. And just not being ready for this kind of situation. The game was over for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden it wasn't.
Yeah, it's super frustrating that nobody's in his ear telling him and he said it after the game that nobody's upstairs telling him go challenge it or don't go challenge it. And I know he's saying
hire someone.
I know. I agree.
This is have a plan. Have a fucking plan. There are other teams that have this shit. You got a kid from Yale giving you analytics on whether to go for a fourth down. Why don't you have a goddamn guy out there fucking telling you whether to challenge it or not?
Yeah, if he's looking at the replays. The one he challenged in the first half, I sort of understand. They were never going to overturn that call, though. And I get it. You want to challenge it because, look, it's a close call, whatever. If it was late in the game, yeah, you challenge that. But it's the first half, and if you watch the play, as an NFL fan, if you've watched any games, they're just not overturning it. There's not enough evidence on that play.
And he's sitting there going like, hey, it's not there's only so much time to do this stuff. And I get that. But I mean, like, you're telling me that there's nobody up in that box that's watching the game like from a fucking screen, like the television copy of it, that couldn't say like, yeah, don't challenge that. That's not a catch.
Just
like,
get in his ear and go,
come on.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Have Freddie fucking Gonzalez, the bench coach from the Orioles, sit up there. That's what his main job is right now. He gets on the phone to see a challenge. He does this motion.
Or just get any drunk Baltimore fan will do it. I mean,
yes.
You can look at that replay for 1 second and say his 2 feet are down and he's got the ball. That's it.
Get real Van Dan to go in there. Also, he's probably half in the bag. From drinking and doing the RA, whatever. It's so dumb.
It's Devontae Adams. If he says he catches it, he catches it. It's Devontae Adams. He's one of the best receivers in the league, and he has been for 10 years. Like, if he says I caught it, he probably fucking caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another
it's
thing
frustrating. But before we move on, I rewatched the video just a couple of weeks ago. Rewatched the Super Bowl video that NFL Network puts out, or NFL Films. And it's like Harbaugh seemed to not even have a plan when like Joe Flacco checked out and threw the ball to Anquan Bolden. He's like, he's actually going to throw it. Like, this seems like it's spur of the moment, edge of the seat of your pants kind of BS. You got to have a freaking plan. I'm sorry.
One more thing, another problem. People talk about Justin Tucker. I do want to say, and they mentioned on the broadcast, he's one of his last 7 from 50-plus field goals. He still made 3 of his 4 field goals today, including one from like 48. He's barely missing them. I'm not super worried about Justin Tucker. I mean, he's literally one of the best kickers of all time. I'm sorry for the L word there, Bri. But our punter fucking sucks. Jordan Stout kicked that ball, 25 yards in the fourth quarter? And he's been bad since we drafted him. Everyone thought he was going to be a great draft pick. They said, oh, he's the best punter in the draft. They drafted him right before the punt god. He fucking sucks. He should go back to Penn State and fucking punt there for the rest of his life. And Christian Hackenberg could throw him passes on the sideline or something.
Did you guys watch the 4 o'clock games at all?
Yeah.
See who the punter? Did you see who the punter of the Chiefs is?
It's the punt god.
It is.
Ariza.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of other stuff that was frustrating, tell me what you guys think about this pass interference call. And I know you guys probably know what I'm gonna share here, but I just want to bring it up on the screen anyway, so you can see it. Not sure if you can really see it that well, but.
We can't really see it at all. We're just seeing the Twitter feed here.
I will say there is.
Yeah, here we go. Look, they're both fighting.
It's hand fighting.
It should have been a no call.
And Gene Steratore even came out and said like this should have been a no call.
Yeah, it should have been a no call, but bottom line, you shouldn't be in that situation against the fucking Gardner Minshew-led Oakland Raiders.
Correct. And look, we can bitch about the refs the entire time, but what's the old adage you always say? Never leave the game in the hands of the refs.
Yep.
We had the opportunity to not leave the game in the hands of the refs, and we blew it. And I mean, there was a bad call on that what looked like a face mask in real time.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. Yeah. On a positive note, if we can, because it's so negative right now, I want to lift this up.
It's been a very negative 30 minutes of podcasting.
Yeah.
I told you, I'm reading "Don't Kill Myself" books out here in Indiana.
Owe looked fantastic. I think he had 2.5 sacks.
Yeah.
All of our defensive linemen, I felt like, looked really good.
Yeah, until the fourth quarter when we couldn't stop Brock Bowers and Devontae Adams, who are the only 2 players on the team that could beat us. Make those players go away and let Alexander Madison run the ball up for 5 yards all the way down the field. Or maybe punt the ball more than 20 fucking yards into our side of the field. Oh, God.
As soon as he punted that, I literally just texted the group, so we're going to lose, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And you could feel it a mile away. Like, it was...
Well, the whole everything was shifting. All the momentum was shifting, right? Over the past couple minutes, I'm like, Yeah, this don't feel good.
It reminded me of the Miami game. When we lost to Miami, you could see everything swing one way. And I said the same thing about Orioles. Like, there's a couple bloop hits in the first inning. I'm like, we're losing. Like, the gods are against us today.
Yeah. Divisional outlook. I'm just going to talk about the playoffs now because we kind of have to. Are our playoffs hopes slipping already? The last 3 seasons, there have been 21 combined 0-2 teams in the NFL. Only 3 of them have made the playoffs. So, I mean, we're looking at a very low percentage chance to make the playoffs at this point. Obviously, with our roster, we have a chance. Obviously, with Lamar, I think Lamar's been great. I mean, what have you guys seen out of Lamar so far? And do you think that he's been any sort of a problem, or do you think he's kind of the reason we've been in these games?
I think he's typical Lamar. Like, and that's a positive statement. I think he's typical Lamar.
Yeah, he's a 2-time MVP. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I don't think there's any way we don't make the playoffs with how talented we are. This whole thing with Fale, this experiment has got to be over, and I think it is. I don't think Harbaugh can sit there and run him out there again without him being very much on the hot seat.
Yeah.
That experiment's got to be done. So, and that's the only way. Like, everything else looks relatively good in terms of like the offense wise. Like, even when he's scrambling around, he's making throws. The run game gets going here and there when you're running outside the tackles. Like, it looks pretty decent. It's just like any fucking pass protection or running up the middle just isn't happening right now. So I think that there's a ton of positive stuff to look at, but like the glaring thing is the glaring thing right now. We lose by a toe to Kansas City, which
can I go back to that statement? The glaring thing is the glaring thing. What the hell does that mean?
It's the fucking offensive line. Like, that's what it is. And that's what, like, if the offensive line is halfway decent, we probably beat Kansas City. If the offensive line is halfway decent, we'd run the ball 20 more times in the game yesterday and just stall that fucking game out. But
yeah,
I mean,
20-30 like we always did.
Yeah. So
comment from Nick Boat, our buddy. How about teams with 0-3 starts? He's referring to the 0-2 start stat I just gave. Going back to 2002, this is per ESPN.com. There have been 103 instances where teams have started 0-3. Only the 2018 Texans managed to make the postseason. So we have about a 1. If we lose this week, we have about a 1 in 104 chance of making the playoffs, which don't love it.
But I agree. Like, I think that's a lot. I mean, 99% of those 0-3 teams were actually probably bad fit teams. I just don't think we're a bad team. I just don't see it in terms of all the talent. In terms of all the talent, like, again, we're sitting there saying, like, offensive line, hopefully Tucker can figure it out from 50 plus, which I believe in him. The punter might be another issue, but
yeah,
I don't see
bad
like
statement. Do we seem like a team that panics?
I don't know.
I feel like we're a team that lets off the gas then panics. I don't.
I
think we panic when we get down early. That's when I think we panic.
Yeah, I don't think we panic in these fourth quarter situations. I just think that I think there's not enough urgency. I feel like there's not enough urgency to put the game away. There's not enough urgency to manage the clock correctly. And there's just no reason you're up by 10 in the fourth quarter and you're not taking away their passing options down the field. I know Brock Bowers is good. He was a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. He's one of the best college football tight ends in the history of college football. I know Devontae Adams is great. He's probably a Hall of Famer. He probably already is a Hall of Famer if he retires today. And Mayer's good. But Alexander Madison and Zamir White aren't going to beat you. So take their options down the field away and let them run the ball and run out the clock. That's all you need to do. And I understand that I'm not a defensive coordinator and I don't understand the ins and outs of football, but I've watched a whole lot of football in my life. All you got to do is just make them sit on the ball. These chunk plays down the field, especially on the sidelines, like how many balls did Devontae Adams catch on the sideline and get out of bounds to save the clock? I mean, it's just crazy.
And when did Marlon Humphrey become so bad?
Like 3 years ago. Like straight up.
Right after he signed his contract?
Yeah, pretty much. Like he got hurt for
right
that
after all the injuries. Yeah,
that one full season where he was out, and then he missed most of the next year. Since he's come back, like he's just not the same player.
not the same. Yeah.
We're paying $20
I know he had a
million
pick.
to.
I know he had a pick yesterday, but I mean
that was one of the worst throws I've ever seen in my life.
I was gonna say that was a pretty damn easy pick. So I know because I know somebody's gonna come on here and be like, "Well, you had a pick yesterday." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I mean, Christ, he better have caught that."
I love Marlon Humphrey, and I love the player that he was for us. But at this point, he's an overpaid slot corner who's not very good. So that's just is what it is.
I almost think.
By the way, I want to attest. He's a great guy. He's a great human being.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, love him.
We're not talking shit about the guy at all.
Great human being.
Yeah. As with most things, when we talk about these people, we're not talking about their character unless we specifically call out their character, which I'm going to do. Jamar Chase. Fuck you. You're a fucking loser. You cost your team this game. I love it because I don't want Cincy to win any of their games because I am so down on them. Apparently, Jamar Chase was offered the Justin Jefferson contract and said no because he wants to get paid way more than Justin Jefferson. Here's the thing, Jamar Chase, as Michael Lombardi and Bill Simmons said on their podcast last week, the Bengals got you 4 more years, buddy. You not only have the team option next year, but you also have 2 franchise years. You got no fucking leverage right now, brother. I don't know what you're doing out there yelling at the refs, causing yourself 15-yard penalties. Joe Burrow's trying to fucking tackle him to get him to shut up and stop yelling at the referee in the middle of this game. And he cost them 15 yards and he cost them points and they lose by 1.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fucking loser, Jamar Chase.
Is that your that's a shame? Like right there?
I've got so many that's a shames this week. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
It's okay. I can tell, man. Jesus. I think you might chug that entire water right now.
I need it.
My that's a shame for the week is Florida State football. Where did you go? Like, what happened? You just lost to Memphis. What?
They paid him $1.5 million to come to Tallahassee to play him and lost.
You paid people to beat your ass. Like, holy shit. I mean, you went from undefeated to winless. Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And I guess to expound on my that's a shame, Florida college football in general. I mean, Florida Gators.
Yeah, they got smoked.
See ya. Like, you're done.
I mean, is Miami the real deal again?
Cam Ward's sick.
Cam Ward is real good.
He's sick. I don't know. I think it'd be great for college football if Miami was back just because it's more fun to watch. It's just like USC. Same thing. It's more fun when they're good. It just is.
That 0-1 Miami team was so stacked. It's unreal.
Yeah.
When you go over that roster, it's just
they have like how many? They ended up with like 8 Hall of Famers on that team or something, 5 or 8.
I mean, something
stupid.
I can't name all of them, but there was a ton of fucking crazy players on that team.
Like Jonathan Vilma was like one of the lower level players on that team. Like that's how. And Jonathan Vilma had a great NFL career.
Yeah.
I have more that's a shames if you want to keep doing that's a shame for a while.
Go for it. Go for it.
My number one, other than John Harbaugh, my number one most frustrating thing, NFL scheduling committee. Why are there 10 1 o'clock games and 3 4 o'clock games? I don't fucking get it. I actually do. I understand why they do it. It's because CBS has the Chiefs in the Bengals game, and they want to funnel everything to CBS to keep their guys happy. It's bad for the game. I'm sitting on Red Zone, and I'm just watching the Chiefs-Bengals game because the other 2 games fucking suck. Bo Nix is the worst quarterback I've ever fucking seen. And Kyler Murray's thrown 3 touchdowns to Marvin Harrison in the first quarter, and Cooper Kupp's out, and the game's over. So I get to watch on my Sunday commercial-free 7-hour football bullshit that I get to watch every week, which I love. I get to watch one game, and then the night game comes on. I have no interest in that night game. I don't care about the Texans and the Bears. I know I should because Stroud and Williams are young and up and coming, but that game was boring as shit. So after the 1 o'clock game, and maybe it's just because the Ravens lost and I was pissed off, but It's just so fucking stupid. Why are there? There shouldn't be 10 1 o'clocks and 3 4 o'clocks. It should never happen.
Yeah, that's a shame for the week is the New York Giants, which we might be able to do with that's a shame segment for them every week, really.
You're stealing my second one, by the way, Brooksy. You're stealing my second one.
I have it written down too.
So the Giants are the first team in NFL history to score 3 or more touchdowns, allow none, and still lose in regulation. How the fuck? You got to try almost to do that.
This is how people get fired. Brian Daboll put Graham Gano on the injury report on Saturday and did not put an additional kicker on the active roster. And so then when Graham Gano was a hamstring or a groin on the opening kickoff, they had nothing. What are you doing? You mean the backup linebacker was more important than the guy that might actually kick points for you?
Yeah, against the Redskins.
Yeah. Go sign
against
Lawrence
the Commanders
Tynes and let him kick a couple extra points. I'm sure he can still do it.
They have a kicker on their practice squad. It's all you got to do is bring him on the roster. You literally just take his name and you drop and drag it over to the roster, and then you're good to go.
Astounding stat. Score 3 touchdowns, allowed 0, lose in regulation. Doesn't make sense. Can't believe it happened. I'm sorry, Barletta. We love you, but God,
he knows. He knows.
I know.
He's probably out there kicking field goals right now, trying to get on the squad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll keep talking about the rest of our division before we move on to the rest of the NFL. Are you guys good on That's a Shame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I got one more. That's a shame. Joe Burrow's hair. He looks like Malibu's Most Wanted. Stop dyeing your hair, please.
He looks like Cody Rhodes. He looks crazy.
Well, he's only dyed it once. It's just growing out now. Now it looks even worse.
It looks so bad.
It looks
trying to be Eminem.
I have another That's a Shame, but we're gonna get to it anyway. So
okay. Browns win ugly against the Jags. Didn't watch a single minute of this game. Don't know what happened. Have no idea. I know Evan Ingram had a hamstring and he didn't play. My reaction to this is why can't the Jags offense put it together more? And why is Trevor Lawrence, who was this generational quarterback prospect a couple years ago, why is he just so average? It just seems like he has games where he looks like he's great, and he has games like this where they put up 13 points against the Browns at home.
I wonder is it scheme? Because there's no reason Brock Purdy should be outperforming
Trevor
Lawrence. Yeah, there's no
based
reason.
on talent level. Yeah, I think a lot of it's scheme, but I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of talent in Jacksonville. Maybe do you think it's Doug Peterson? We all kind of agree that we think Doug Peterson's a pretty good coach, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Doug Peterson's a good coach, but this is making me, rethink that statement.
Is their line really bad down there or something? Because I'm not that versed in them.
I'm not too familiar with their line.
I know they have Cam Robinson, who's a great tackle, but I don't know about the rest of their offensive line. But they've spent so much money on the roster over the last few years. I don't know.
I mean,
they
got
Etienne's
a stud. Christian Kirk's pretty damn good. He's not worth what he's getting paid, but he's pretty damn good. But who's their other receivers that they have? Ingram was hurt.
Brian Thomas
didn't really do much.
First round rookie who's
LSU.
Explosive. They've got Gabe Davis, who they paid $13 million a year for.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
doesn't look like he's been on the field yet. Evan Ingram hurt himself in pregame warmups today. I think the Jags. I don't know. I just don't know what to make of that team. But what do you think about the Browns on the other side?
Before we move on from that, prior to drafting Lawrence, they used a lot of their draft equity on defensive players.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on. They drafted an LSU linebacker. They drafted Taiwan Walker, I think his name is. Not Taiwan. Trayvon Walker. Yeah, sorry. Taiwan Walker's a pitcher. He's not panning out whatsoever.
Well, especially when you know that Aiden Hutchinson went number 2 in that draft. By the way, Aiden Hutchinson had 4.5 sacks yesterday.
Jesus.
In one game, and they lost.
Jesus. Anyway, we can move on.
Yeah, it just weird team, weird division overall. I think Houston's probably end up running away with it, like we all kind of thought at the beginning of the year. But I don't know. What do we think about the Browns? I mean, obviously their offense is still not really doing much. Is their defense good enough to keep them in games? We talked about Deshaun Watson a lot, probably thinking about like he may lose his job. I think they only scored 1 touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I think they're better than what they're showing. But, I mean, it feels like the same old song and dance from last year where their defense keeps them in the games. Because, I mean, they weren't that great at the beginning of last year offensively. Then Flacco comes in and then they take off. So, I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. They're so much more talented than what they're showing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the talent's there. I think they could turn it around pretty easily. I mean, they're 1-1. They're better than us in the division. I mean, as record goes, but
yeah.
So
I will say this: I'd rather be 0-2 with Lamar than 1-1 with Deshaun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean, with our roster, really.
Yeah. Steelers in control of the division at 2-0. They've scored 1 touchdown in 2 weeks, and they are 2-0. Their defense is legit. We know this. I do think that they've played 2 pretty poor teams. We're going to find out more about the Falcons tonight when they match up against the Eagles, because I think the Eagles are pretty good. And I think if the Falcons can hang, I think we'll start to realize that the Steelers' defense may be a lot better than we were giving them credit for. But it's not sustainable. You're not going to win games in the NFL in 2024 putting up 1 touchdown every 2 weeks. You're just not. So am I scared of their defense? Absolutely. As a Ravens fan, I'm scared of their defense, but I don't see how they're going to be able to make any noise in the playoffs if they can't score.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I mean, I really don't have much on the Browns. I wanted to pose a question just to get off. I'm sorry, on the Steelers.
Yeah.
My mind's running on football at the moment, but I just kind of want to. Dusty is well said, very well said. Who do you think the best team is that you've seen so far in the first 2 weeks?
In our division?
In general. Because we're talking about a lot of negatives with all these teams and how, like, don't have great quarterback play. Defense is good, but the offense sucks. The offense is good, the defense sucks. Name that team. Who do you think the most complete team has been that you've seen in the first 2 weeks?
I mean, the bailout answer is the Chiefs. But
I mean, they should not be beating the Bengals by 1.
I mean, Tampa?
I think it's you took the words out of my mouth. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, look good.
Or New Orleans.
I mean, New Orleans had just had 2 blowouts. I know one's against the Panthers, but I mean, they went and blew out the Cowboys yesterday.
They kicked the shit out. The game was never close either.
No. Are the Saints good?
Is the NFC South good? Back?
What? Everyone thought the AFC North would be like the stud division. All of a sudden, the NFC South that had nothing is good.
I mean,
they have the worst team in the history of football in the NFC South too.
Yeah,
still pretty good.
we shit on the Saints pretty hard during our preview show, and I think, how is what's happening? How did that happen against the Cowboys? I mean, what is going on?
I don't know, man. I came on here last week and said the Saints are frauds, the Panthers are terrible, and the Cowboys are going to run it up on them, and I was so wrong. I don't know what the hell happened to the Cowboys, but Derek Carr is just hitting Rashid Shaheed in stride down the field every time he throws the ball. It's crazy. I don't think Derek Carr is that good. But
say that name again 3 times real fast.
No, I can't. I couldn't say it once.
Yeah, that's that was my other that's a shame was the Cowboys losing 44-19 to the Saints. But I mean, are the Saints good?
What the hell was that?
Are the Saints good?
I mean, Kamara looked like Kamara of 3 years ago. He scored 3 or 4 touchdowns, I think.
Put up a 40 burger.
Yeah.
Nick, I think to Nick, I think we might need to wait 1 more week to see if the Saints are legit and real.
Yeah.
I really.
Let's see who do they play next week.
False positive next week. Yeah.
They have the Eagles.
Ooh.
All
So,
right, so you'll find
that'll
out.
tell
You got that
us.
We're
deep-
gonna learn in the next 4 weeks. They play the Eagles, the Falcons, the Chiefs, and the Bucks. I mean, they could be.
We're gonna
They
learn a
could
lot.
be. Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot. They could be 4-0. They could be. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't really know. That whole division's so weird. But
Minus the
anyway,
Panthers.
just some stuff from across the league. Underdogs going into Sunday Night Football were 10-4 this week, which seems like it happens in week 2 all the time. You kind of feel like you know the NFL after week 1, and then you find out there's some flukes in there, and the underdogs just start going crazy. There was only one team favored by 4 or more that covered the spread, and that was the formerly San Diego, now Los Angeles Chargers, who were playing an XFL team. So I don't really count that as a game. The Bucks beat the Lions in Detroit, which was crazy. And also the Vikings beat the Niners, and it wasn't really particularly close. I know the final score is 23-17, but the Vikings were dominating this game most of the time.
Yeah. Between the Saints Cowboys this game and the Bucks Lions game, those are my 3 games that I'm super surprised about.
Yeah.
I don't. Are the Cardinals good? I mean, we knew their offense was going to be pretty damn good.
No, the Cardinals are not good.
Are the Rams? Are the Rams doomed?
I don't. Yeah.
I mean, they lost Puka for half the year already. Cooper Kupp was in a walking boot, and they lost the entire left side of their offensive line. I think Matthew Stafford's just going to get absolutely crushed. It's going to look like Detroit Matthew Stafford all year.
Yeah.
And
It's going to be good as
awesome.
a fantasy owner if you own Stafford, because he's going to be slinging the thing the rest of the year.
Yes.
I don't know who. I don't know to who, but
To who? Yeah, Van Jefferson, whoever the hell.
no, he's gone. He's
he's on
somewhere
Steelers
else.
now, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tutu Atwell and a bunch of Randys.
DeMarcus Robinson, I think, is there from the Ravens.
Former Raven great, yeah.
And Tyler Williams, is that his name? I think he's
Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson.
Don't know where he went. I had never heard of him until this week.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't get over how good the Bucks look. The Bucks look like a team ready to just go. And we talked about the other day, Todd Bowles, I can't watch him on TV because he talks like this and he has his mouth and he just keeps talking, but his teeth are clenched up the entire time. What are you doing?
Do you take anything from the Vikings Niners? The Vikings have now beat the Niners twice in a row. They beat them last year as well.
Maybe O'Connell has Shanahan's number. I don't have a good answer for you, but that says something to beat them twice. And obviously the Niners are a more talented team in regards to their personnel, but it doesn't make any sense. But they do it. They get it done.
Pretty impressed by Darnold so far. Slinging it.
He's looked good. I mean, it helps when you have Justin Jefferson scoring 97-yard touchdowns, but that was a great throw. I mean, he threw it 50 yards down the field.
And when you got Derek Shaw, covering your back, your hind end, it helps out pretty well, as opposed when he was with the Jets and he just had people in his crotch the entire time every time he tried to throw the football.
And the Panthers.
Aaron Jones looked good out of the backfield catching screens. I watched a lot of that game, and Ty Chandler, who's like their spell running back, their like third down guy, he was good. I think he had 9 carries for like 80 yards. Like, I think their O-line is like legit. I thought the defense was really going to struggle, but only giving up 17 to this Niners team who kind of walloped the Jets last week. I think that's pretty impressive. I don't think they're going to be a pushover.
No, I agree. I mean, Darnold just needs to just don't turn the ball over. So, and it doesn't seem like he has. I don't know if he's thrown any picks yet or not, but.
And by the way, I should probably just pre-pie myself in the face 2 times because Brian Daboll is definitely getting fired first before Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, I think if Tennessee pulls out that game, they should have beaten the Bears last week. We might be talking differently, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if anybody could stand in that organization, it would be Daboll. But I think they're cleaning house. I don't think their GM stands a chance.
Zero chance. I mean, he embarrassed himself on
the
television.
Barkley stuff. Yeah.
And then I mean, just Daboll just seems like a man without a plan.
Panthers are benching Number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, first sources. Adam Shepard.
Oh,
5 minutes
dear.
ago. Wow.
Who's the backup?
Andy Dalton.
Oh, the Red Rocket. Come back in, man.
All right.
I think it's Andy Dalton. It was last year.
R.I.P. Andy Dalton. I thought Andy Dalton. Well, no, he was with the Saints like 2 years ago.
Let me make sure that is true before I give out false information.
Nice.
But he is definitely their.
Let's put Andy Dalton in there who can't move a lick.
It is.
They're gonna tee off on him.
32-year-old Andy Dalton is gonna be getting torched.
God, he's gonna be sore. He's gonna be so sore.
Oh yeah, is that a Macho Man Slim Jim, huh?
Yes, it is. For my birthday, Miss Alicia Gladfelder, thank you very much, Miss Alicia, got me a bag of candy and snacks.
Also,
I'm a little hungry right now.
My fantasy team is falling apart. Also, didn't see Keenan Allen was not going to be playing last night.
Yeah.
So
that was weird. Odunze had a sprained MCL, which is normally like a couple of weeks.
And he played, right?
And he played. And Keenan Allen had like a heel injury and didn't play. Really weird.
I didn't see it. Like I had him starting, like, because they didn't announce he was out until like an hour and a half or something before the game, maybe 2 hours, and I wasn't paying attention at that point. So luckily I think I'm still going to win in the worst fantasy game of all time, because I think the guy that I'm playing against is probably going to end up with like 50 points, and I'm probably going to beat him with like 65. So
that's pretty rough.
It's bad. It's a bad week. Bad week for most of my fantasy teams, to be honest with you.
I'm still waiting to see if the Niners get popped for the Christian McCaffrey stuff that we talked about last week.
They got to.
I'm sure they're being investigated by the league as we speak.
They're just like, screw it, we'll take the fine.
Especially now that we haven't talked about it. McCaffrey is on the IR.
Yeah.
I mean, they were talking like he was going to start week 1, and then when week 2, they put him on the IR. Crazy, at least 4 weeks.
Yeah. They got to get fined for that. Like, there's no way that just comes up unless there was a setback that happened that we don't know about.
And I think they got fined $100,000 by the league. I'm looking it up now on Pro Football Talk. Give credit to Pro Football Talk. I think they got fined $100,000 for something that happened in week 1.
That I don't know. Other notable storylines for the week. Thursday night, we kind of lost this just because it happened so long ago now, but the Bills kind of dominated the Dolphins. Even before Tua went out, which we'll talk about here in a second, the Bills were running up and down the field at will. James Cook was excellent. He had 3 touchdowns. The Bills, it seemed like they lost all of their players and they lost a ton of guys on defense, but still, I mean, against Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill, still only giving up 10 points to the Miami Dolphins, who are very explosive. I mean, all the credit to them. As long as you have Josh Allen, you have a chance to win. But it seems like Sean McDermott's making a really good case that he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, that's I thought so. I didn't think that Buffalo would be as successful as they were offensively against them, just because Jordan Poyer's there and should have a little bit of inside baseball against them. But I mean, they really put it on them. I was surprised, and on the flip side, like you said, Dustin, I was super surprised about how well they played defensively against Miami, because I mean, they had all their stars there. So obviously Tua goes out and during that game, but still, Christ, you can give the ball to Tyreek Hill every time. I bet you he breaks loose for one of them.
Can we discuss Tua real quick?
Yeah,
we can. Yeah. What do you got?
Seem like you have a thought.
He seems like he's on mute, but he does have a thought.
He is on mute.
For the people, I was eating a Slim Jim, so I didn't want to be chomping at the bit with a microphone in my face. But with the Tua situation, for all the people that are actually calling out for him to retire, it is such a stupid remark for the reason of this. One reason only. He is due $167 million. So for the people that are like, you should leave the game, he could stand on the sideline for the rest of his career, but he collects $167 million. So
unless a doctor says that he can't play.
Correct. With the doctors, he can't play. But if he gets medically cleared, he can just stand. He can be clipboard Jesus. He can be Charlie Whitehurst. He can sit there, have a good time. Yeah. For all the people that are like, you need to leave. Like, hey, if you had $167 million standing in your face, would you retire? No.
Yeah. Also, 99% of you're not doctors. So stop giving us concussion protocol stuff. We know they're terrible, but obviously he's being seen by the most qualified and best people in the world. So let's let them handle it and let the player decide, and not you don't make the decision for him.
I think the Dolphins, I'll give a little bit of shit to. The one time, was it 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, the original.
He blatantly had a concussion.
Yeah. Yes.
And they said he had a hurt back. It's like, come on. He stumbled all over the field.
But even then, you have to see an independent neurologist to get cleared as well. You can't just get cleared by your team. So I don't know what's going on there, but obviously there's some stuff.
Yeah, you would think the Dolphins would do right by Tua in this situation, even if a doctor does not clear him. You would hope that the Dolphins would still be like, if he decided like, hey, for what's best for my family, I don't think it's the right decision for me to play anymore. Like, I'll stick around and help out and stuff like that, or whatever. You would think that they would still do right by him and honor his contract, but you never really know until you cross that bridge. So I know that he's probably, again, that money's going to come into play until he gets it signed in writing saying like, hey, we'll still pay you if you decide like this is what's right for your family. But on the other hand, something I do want to play here is, did you guys see Nick Saban talk about this at all?
I did see the clip, but it was a couple days ago. So
all right, I'm gonna put the clip up now so we can listen to it. I think what he said about this was beautiful. So let me know if you can hear it or not when I put it up.
His family better than anybody that's going to speak into a microphone today about this situation.
You guys probably can't hear that, Kenny, because it's coming through somewhere else. You can hear it?
We could hear it. So one of the videos. Here we go.
Anybody that's going to speak about this situation today. Last night, obviously, we were all incredibly bummed to see another concussion happen in primetime for Tua. If you were, I don't know if you have talked to him or if you were going to talk to Tua today, what would you say to him? And how do you feel about the speculation of his future that's being done by everybody right now? Because we've seen him go through some brain trauma so many times on primetime.
Right. Well, first of all, I will talk to him today. I haven't been able to get a hold of him yet. I have a house down there in Florida, so we get together on occasion when I am there, play golf in the off season. And Tua is such a great competitor, but I think this has to be a medical decision. I mean, you have to let medical people who understand the circumstances around these injuries, these concussions, and when you have multiple concussions, that's not a good sign. And I think Tua and his family and everyone else should listen to all the medical evidence to make sure that you're not compromising your future health-wise by continuing to play football. But I think that's a medical decision. I don't think that's something for me to speculate on, and I know a lot of people are doing it, and more power to them. But I think the family should not be influenced by that. Tua should not be influenced by that. It should be all based on, medical professionals.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Tua? He doesn't do a lot of media. He's done a little bit here in the past, like few months or so, I think, than he's ever done in the past. Like, they talk about him having to change the way he plays. And like, hey, you should slide, especially with everything that's happened. I think he trained jujitsu. They put him in a new helmet. Last year, he was completely healthy. None of these problems. Last night, team was down, rushing for a first down, goes to lower shoulder, which I think was like setting tone for team, because they said in week 1, he gave a speech, which was kind of, I don't want to say out of character, but out of the norm for him to kind of do what he did at halftime. Is there a chance that, let's say he does come back and play, that he will be able to like change who he is as a player? That's been tough, I think, in the past.
Well, I can only tell you what kind of player he is. He's a great competitor. All right, first of all, he's a great person, and this is a great family. I remember when we went in the house to recruit him, and there were 8 seats around the table and 2 at the head of the table. And I usually try to sit in the middle and not at the head of the table so I can talk to the whole family when I'm recruiting. So nobody sits down. and I'm at the middle, and the dad looks at me. Nalu, who's to his dad, says, "You can't sit there." And I said, "Why?" He said, "If you sit there, that means one of my boys have to sit at the head of the table, and they haven't done anything to deserve to sit there yet. So you have to go over there and sit." So that's the kind of family, that's the kind of tradition. You ask Tua how he's doing, he's always going to say, "I'm doing great. Thanks for asking." I mean, these are the kind of people you're talking about. But this guy is a great competitor, and one thing that he does not know how to do is give up on a play. I mean, even when he hurt his hip at Alabama, there was nowhere to go for the ball. Nowhere. Ruggs was the receiver. He fell down. All right. So there's no even buddy to throw it to. And he's still trying to make a play and takes a hit that he doesn't need to take. And I hate it that he got hurt. And, I wish I would have taken him out of the game. Hindsight's always 20/20. And it's the same thing with the play last night. He could have slid. He had a first down, but he's a competitive, tough-minded guy that's trying to set the tone for his team and ends up getting injured because of it.
Yeah, and I got to play with Andrew Luck, and Andrew was the same way. Like, hey, give up on a play, and he's like one of the smartest humans on earth. Good guy, loves foot. Like, he felt like he was disrespecting football if he was to do that. Right. It feels like Tua has the same exact kind of vibe. We hope he's okay. He walked off, which is good news. Which is good news. You think that team loves him though, huh? You said.
Yeah, I think Saban did a really good job hitting the nail on the head. This is a medical decision. This is his decision. This is not for Tony Gonzalez or any of these guys who've come out and said that they think she should retire. It's not your fucking life. It's his. So let the man decide what he wants to do moving forward. Obviously, this situation sucks because it's been so in the spotlight, especially over the last couple of years. But it's just I don't know. I don't really even want to say any more on it. It's just it sucks.
Well, I think Nick Saban, he like you said, hit the nail on the head. Two things. One, Nick Saban, great jacket. Two, he is phenomenal on television. I know that's getting away from the Tua situation.
Yeah.
Saban has been an asset. Not only he's been an asset in college football, but he's an asset to ESPN right now. Yeah. He does a great job, and he worded that so well about Tua. And that's a great story about the family table. That's awesome. Like, that's really awesome.
Yeah. Brooks, you're muted.
I like that he came out and actually said, like, hey, this is a decision for Tua and his family, not for, and he's like, I know their family. He knows their family better than anybody else. So he's like, this is a decision for them to make and what's best for them. And also talked about like how good of a human being he is, like, just to give you a little context on the person, not just the player. So, but yeah, same thing. It's his decision. They have to weigh all the factors, and they have to just, Christ, a doctor could come out and say, like, you shouldn't play anymore. And obviously he'll probably get a couple opinions, and he might not have a choice in it. But if he has a choice, that's up to him and his family. So,
yes.
All right, moving on from this game. Cardinals kicked the shit out of the Rams. We kind of already talked about this. Marvin Harrison looked amazing, put up 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter after a lot of people called him out for doing basically nothing in week 1. I think the Cardinals' offense is for real. I think their defense is going to struggle against some better teams, better offenses in the league. I don't really have much else to say about this other than James Conner is like the least sexy, most consistent running back in the league. Just seems like he's always putting up numbers, and nobody ever wants to take him in fantasy because his name's James Conner. But
is that a Terminator reference?
No, it wasn't.
John,
it was
John Connor?
No, it's just, I don't know. If his name was Saquon Barkley, maybe he'd get more love. I don't know.
I'll never trust Kyler Murray. Ever.
It's fair.
Ever.
It's fair. It's a fair criticism. Colts lose to Malik Willis and the Packers. This was ugly. Malik Willis, I think, only threw 4 passes in the first half. Josh Jacobs had 32 carries. If you're the Colts, how do you not know that this is the plan for the Packers? I don't get it. Sell out for the run. Malik Willis is not going to beat you through the air. He's been abysmal in every start he's had in the NFL up to this point. I think the Colts should be embarrassed that they lost this game. And I think Anthony Richardson looked like shit. Bad loss for the Colts, in my opinion. You guys got anything on that one?
I think you about summed it up.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley might need to hit the drawing board.
Yeah, what an idiot that guy is. Jets play a close game with the Titans, who have been close in both of their games, but they pull out the victory. 20-year-old NFL rookie running back Braylon Allen had 2 touchdowns in this game as the spell for Breece Hall. He looked explosive as shit, especially in that last touchdown. Huge future ahead of this kid. I mean, 20 years old playing against grown men in the NFL. That's got to be terrifying.
Alvin Kamara. Let's just go there. Holy shit.
Alvin Kamara put up a game like he did on Christmas a couple years ago. 4 touchdowns, just absolutely trouncing any fantasy hopes of anybody who's playing against him.
I'm playing against him and Justin Jefferson this week in one of my leagues.
That's fun. That's fun. That's like 70 points.
For you. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, my fantasy has not gone well so far this year.
Taylor's oldest time. Brooks is not having a good fantasy season. Christian McCaffrey goes on IR. We kind of called this. We said this is a worrisome injury. Me and Brian were talking about it a lot earlier this year. Just a lot of injuries this week. I mean, I'll go through them quickly. Evan Engram, we've already discussed. Keenan Allen, we've already discussed. We didn't talk about the Patriots-Seahawks game at all just because it was I don't know if it's super consequential. I think the Pats are a little bit more frisky than we gave them credit for going into the year. But Kenneth Walker missed this game. I think he's got some sort of abdominal strain or something going on with his core. So he missed this game. Zach Charbonnet took over and scored a touchdown. Justin Herbert got rolled up on in the Carolina game, but he finishes the game. They said he was it looked like he had a noticeable limp, but they said he was going to be fine. Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown both left their games. They both have leg contusions. They're both expected to have avoided serious injuries. So not too long-term concerned about those guys. Cooper Kupp, walking boot, not good. Isaiah Pacheco has a fractured fibula. They don't know if there was any damage to any ligaments, but that's rough news for the Chiefs because he's been a pretty consistent runner for them. And then Vita Vea sprained his MCL. This is a really tough injury for a dude that size. Don't like to see that, especially with the Bucs playing as well as they are. Hopefully he's able to get that sorted out. And then Jets outside linebacker Jermaine Johnson, who they took out of Florida State, I want to say.
Florida State.
He looks like he tore his Achilles. He's going to be out indefinitely. That sucks for them. That's a big blow for their D.
That's a year. I mean, that's the race. That's the rest of the year. I mean, it was a non-contact injury. I actually watched it live. Yeah. You get to see it, and it was like, okay, he's done. Yeah. And you can even see there was a couple of players who actually looked. And I've been around. I don't know if you guys have been around with someone pops their Achilles. It sounds like a gunshot. It's bizarre, and everyone has the same reaction. They turn around and see someone kick them. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, and kudos to I haven't heard anything about this yet, but kudos to the Ravens staff for taking care of while we're on top of injuries.
Yeah,
the chain gang guy who collapsed. A couple of our buddies over there said he was just kind of walking down the field and just went down. They couldn't tell if it was a heart attack or a stroke, but they were doing CPR on the sideline. But apparently this gentleman's going to be okay. That's all I've really heard. And like that's what I heard was he's going to be okay. I don't know if that means he's got brain damage, anything. I have no clue. But good job by the Ravens staff. I mean, when you see the referees kneeling on the ground next to the players, you know something serious is going on.
Yeah, that was weird, a weird, rough situation, but glad that guy is stable and healthy. We're praying that he makes a full recovery and he's able to get back on the field if that's what he is wanting to do.
Some guy yesterday goes, "Why are all the chain gang guys 78 years old?"
Why do chain gang guys exist anymore? It's 2024. We don't need to move a freaking chain down the field every play.
Well, the Hawkeye stuff was a huge failure, and I think that was I believe that was the technology they were hoping to use in the future.
Yes, it's called Hawkeye. Yeah, Hawkeye, whatever.
And apparently it was abysmal.
Wow.
So chain gang's here for at least another couple of years, probably till they get that figured out.
Yeah. Tonight, Eagles Falcons. Eagles are home. They're favored by 5.5. Over under set at 45.5 as of this morning. That could have moved. AJ Brown's out. Had a good game last week. Didn't seem to get hurt, but apparently he's got a hamstring. They're not going to risk it. They're just not going to play him this week. I think that's weird. Do we have any feelings on this? I already mentioned earlier in the pod, I think the Eagles should win this game handily, but it's week 2 and the dogs are barking.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's the way I would go. But I mean, I feel like if that's how confident I feel in this, then
It's
probably take the Falcons to cover.
Yeah. Other than that, we don't have anything else sports related, so we are going to move on to our draft.
Give me 1 second. I got to text a gentleman to let him know we're doing it.
This has been
something that everyone's been waiting for.
That Brian has specifically been waiting for, and we're doing athletes only. Maybe at some point in the future we'll do actors, actresses, musicians, the rest of the world. But we're doing athletes only, and it is the hot guy draft.
Hot guy draft, baby. Here we go.
After our tallies this afternoon, Brooks determined that he was the winner, I believe, with 18 votes. I came in second, and of course, Brian came in last week in the sauce condiment draft. Questionable choice at Worcester sauce at number 3 may have led to that. I got a lot of texts about that.
Brian's best draft of all in terms of voting wise yet.
How many votes did I get?
You got 9.
Whoa!
You lost to Dustin by 2.
Proud of you.
Well, as we do every week, I want to tell people: do not vote for me. Fuck off. You don't enjoy my shit. I don't care. I vote for what I like, and if you don't like it, that's cool, and that's your curse.
Oh man, we just got a like on Twitter from Could Be the Move. God, those Friday beers look delicious. Shout out to Could Be the Move. If you don't follow them on Instagram, Twitter, they are hilarious. Also follow Friday beers.
Friday beers for sure.
We're gonna get into our hot guy draft. It is athletes only, like we said. All athletes, athletic sports personalities are going to be involved. Brooks, you have the first pick. Who do you got?
First pick of all time. I mean, probably going to have to go.
And just to preface as well, these can be retired athletes as well. They just
all time. I mean, I got to go David Beckham, right?
All right, David Beckham. I don't think that's a bad pick. I think I probably would have gone.
I mean, I was in between a couple, but I mean, that's one that a lot of people will resonate with over many generations.
I'm gonna take Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Brian, you have the swing vote here.
I got 2 picks. I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo.
Ooh,
former Tom Brady backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes. And I'm gonna go local. I'm gonna go Justin Tucker.
Wow, Justin Tucker. Because he sings opera?
I love opera.
I'll sleep to it every night.
Wow, all right. I got some interesting thoughts here. I'm gonna go with Henrik Lundqvist.
Damn it, that was my next one.
Great looking guy.
Oh, Dustin.
Former really good hockey player.
Damn it. That was mine. All right. Give me Brady Quinn.
Nice pick. Nice pick. That was my next one. Nice pick.
Brady Quinn.
Forgot about Brady Quinn. Handsome guy.
And I don't know if this will fall to me again, so I'm just going to take him. Do I wait? Give me Bryce Harper.
Oh, all right.
Not even on my list.
I will take Shohei Ohtani.
What?
What?
Shohei Ohtani.
Interesting pick.
Didn't see that one coming, buddy.
Very, very handsome fella.
Alrighty, I'm going.
I thought Brian was the one that was into Asians.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going off the reservation here in terms of sports. I'm going Kelly Slater, the surfer.
Wow.
All right, that's fair game.
That's fair game. Fair game.
And then I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. I think he's a good-looking man.
Yeah. That's a great pick. I can't argue with it. I'm going to take Adam Scott. Probably the best-looking golfer of all time.
Looks great in a hat. Looks terrible without a hat. But he is a good-looking man with a hat on.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Beige. Adam Scott, always wearing Earthbones.
50 Shades of Beige.
Oh God.
That's incredible.
All right. All right, I'm gonna go with Cristiano Ronaldo. That man looks like he's a painting.
Yeah, I don't think I can fault you for that.
He is a portrait of hot,
Yeah.
like, without a doubt.
All right, I have got.
Is there a flaw on that guy? And then I guess I got one more, right? And I'm done.
Yes, you do.
Ooh. I don't. This is the one I was kind of not sure about.
Martha Stewart's not a man.
Fair.
I didn't play sports. You could take Rosie O'Donnell.
I think he's going to take Lance Armstrong.
Oh, one nut.
Well, you could go with another one nut, Ryan Lochte.
Yeah. I can't go with him.
Yeah.
This one popped up when I was doing a little research, so I'm just going to go with this because I completely forgot about him. C.J. Wilson, the left-handed pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Wilson for the
Angels,
Texas Rangers, right? Yeah.
Rangers, Angels, a couple of teams.
Wow, I've got two that I really stuck between here. Give me Rafa Nadal, handsome guy.
All right, I close out my draft with the final pick. I am going to go Eric Decker. Fever.
Yeah, that's
good call. I fucked that up.
The other guy I was stuck between Rafa Nadal and Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
A lot of girls giving him love these days, so got to shout that out.
My honorable mentions that are left off, I only have 4. Travis Kelsey, James McCann from the Orioles, backup catcher, Reggie Bush, and Chris Long.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I should have taken a guy with the name Long in a Hawkeye draft.
Yeah,
that would kind of placate to the draft. But
I mean, I kind of want to change my last pick. How did I not take Tom Wilson?
I got Greg Olson written down. I've got Kevin Love written down. Saquon Barkley, Tim Tebow, Dan Marino.
Dan?
Laces out. Troy Aikman also probably on that list for me that I didn't write down, but just thought about what he said.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there was a
who's the Michigan guy that's on College Game Day? Desmond something. He's good looking.
Desmond Howard.
Or that the not the IndyCar driver, the
Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton, whatever that race.
F1.
Yeah. Fraud one. Fugazi one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many that we left off the list. I mean, there are so many good-looking human.
I mean, women loved Adam Frazier.
Yeah, Adam Frazier.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think Chris Davis is a good-looking man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Ryan Roberts.
Yeah. Here's a
Markakis.
Nick the Stick. Hell yeah. I mean, once again, it could be great for a Hawkeye draft. We're just going a little leaning one way. It's going there, but I'm not going to say any words. No, Dusty, I said this earlier to somebody. I'm like, I cannot wait to see the photos you choose to put in the
Yeah,
draft.
it's gonna be funny.
Yeah. I'm gonna get weird with it. Brooks, what you got?
Good.
Jake Arrieta.
Oh yeah, good looking guy.
Good looking human.
Really good looking guy.
Yeah.
Can I change
Kirsten's
mine?
gonna kick my ass for no, you cannot. Kirsten's gonna kick my
Damn it.
ass for not taking Braden Holtby.
Hope Beast.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
stories
anyway,
about Holtby.
that was our hot guy draft. Athletes only. Brooks got David Beckham, Brady Quinn, Bryce Harper, Cristiano Ronaldo, and C.J. Wilson. I got Tom Brady, Henrik Lundqvist, Shohei Ohtani, Adam Scott, and Rafa Nadal. Brian got Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Tucker, Kelly Slater, Jalen Hurts, and Eric Decker.
I've never seen Brooks get so upset about a draft. This is
I screwed like my number 5 pick was such bullshit. Like that was just somebody who popped up as I was doing research. I'm like, oh, I forgot about him, and that's what stuck in my head.
What was your Google search, by the way, for this? Like, what was it like?
I had to delete my
hot
Google
man
history.
athletes?
Yeah.
No, I did what I do. I did like hottest male athletes of all time.
You could have gone with Shannon Sharp. That would have been topical.
That would have, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
The
Will
only other
Levis.
guy I had on my thing was Jesse Palmer, who was a Florida quarterback.
That would have been a good one too.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
how
would've
did we
been a
miss
great
Jesse
one.
Palmer?
Yeah. Former Florida quarterback.
Yeah, we need to, when we post this stuff, we need to be like, we realize we screwed up and forgot these guys.
I put in the
we need to have an
post on
honorable
Instagram.
mention.
We need an
section,
honorable
or
mention.
guys we missed.
Yeah,
Sean
we'll put that
McVay.
We'll put that in the description. We'll throw a couple guys in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury could have been in there.
Cliff
Yeah.
Kingsbury, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
People love John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of women that talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same, my wife.
No one's gonna take Lee Corso or anything like that. But
I mean, another one we forgot is Chris Bryant.
good looking man.
Yeah, his eyes. I think he's got those blue eyes.
Mm-hmm. How did we forget Jesse Palmer? The fucker was giving out roses on The Bachelor.
I mean, he's still the host of The Bachelor.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our hot guy draft. That was our podcast for the day. We are sad Baltimore sports fans after this horrible, terrible, no good, very bad week that we just had. But we've got 2 more weeks of baseball. We've got a shit ton more NFL to go. It's still early in the season, and playoffs are right around the corner in baseball, and I can't wait. So, yeah, hopefully our teams will start performing a little bit better. We'll make a graphic. We'll let you guys vote on the hot guy draft. Brooks, anything else you want to plug in terms of our membership stuff? Like, comment, subscribe, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All the like, comment, subscribe bullshit that you hate hearing, that I hate hearing, but seems like it's something that we need to do. We do have a membership now that you can join, as well as in the chat. We have super chat stuff as well. So we just kind of hit that milestone, so that's up and running now. So just wanted to shout that out. If anybody feels the need or the calling that they want to help out the show and leave us a little donation, any little bit counts to kind of getting this show up out of the Stone Age for Brian's sake. So anything that's donated towards us, it goes towards the show to make it better for you guys. So we got some cool stuff coming up. The Chaucer tournament's coming up. You'll see some of our stuff there. We've got some other potential sponsors that we're hopefully going to do some cool stuff with, and got to talk this over with Brian, but hopefully we can do another Chaucer Pig and Rooster giveaway here soon for whatever we have coming out. So yeah, members we'll have some cool interviews coming up here soon as well. Members get first access to all that. We'll do some members only kind of group chats, kind of like a Zoom call kind of feel where we can kind of chat together. So a lot of cool stuff that we have coming out for memberships. So just something to think about. Also, you get some discounts on some of the apparel as well. So a couple benefits there. We're working on some other stuff as well, but that's kind of what comes top of mind right now. Brian, you got anything?
Yeah, just quick. I had a buddy of mine, unfortunately, do something stupid this past week. That's why I say it every week. My favorite part about this podcast is I can talk to my friends and take care of yourself, talk to people.
Yeah. Always reach out to us if you ever need to talk to somebody. Everything, a lot of stuff's happened in the last couple of weeks personally for us. So, it sucks. And we really hope if you ever need help or if you ever find yourself in a situation where you want to talk to somebody, you're more than welcome to reach out to any of us.
And you can come on the podcast and just BS with us. Just have some fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's been another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. And hope you guys have a great day and enjoy Eagles Falcons tonight. And go Birds.
See you,
Go
boys.
Birds. See you, boys.
Yeah.